This video illustrates steps of how to install an NPR9 non-penetrating mount using an extended mount and assumes you have already selected your best mounting option and location. First, place the non-pen frame in a location that the customer has approved. If using on a roof, place an approved protective rubber mat where the frame will be placed to protect the supporting surface from damage, and place the frame so it's centered on the mat and completely covered. Note that the 4 pre-threaded outside holes in the non-pen frame are used for mounting the DirecTV standard footplate. Bolt holes used for mounting the forward-facing monopole are located here. Bolt the mast footplate to the frame using 4 of the 5/16 inch by 0.75 inch bolts, grade 5, and lock washers using a 1/2 inch wrench or 1/2 inch socket and ratchet, making sure they're fully tightened. Using the standard and extended mount, 2 long monopoles are required, 1 forward-facing monopole and 1 side-facing monopole. The first step is to make sure the pipe clamps are loose enough so that they will slide over the mast. Next, slide the clamp of the forward-facing monopole over the mast, followed by the side-facing monopole. The bottom/forward-facing monopole footplate can now be attached to the non-pen frame by installing 5/16 by 3/4 inch bolts and lock washers to the footplate into the pre-threaded holes until they're snug, not fully tightened. Next, remove the footplate of the side-facing monopole and attach the angle bracket to the end of the monopole using a 5/16 inch by 0.75 inch bolt, flat washer, and flange nut. The top/side-facing monopole footplate can now be attached to the side of the non-pen frame using the remaining 5/16 inch by 0.75 inch bolt and remaining flat washer and flange nut, then tighten until they are snug, not fully tightened. Note: use the middle monopole attachment hole to ensure proper clearance. Tighten both monopole clamps just above the bend of the mast until they are snug, not fully tightened. Fill one of the bins using the water source the customer has agreed upon. These options could include an outside water source, kitchen sink, or bathtub. It's critical to fill the bin to the fill line, which is indicated by the top of the molded ribs. Do not under or overfill it. Secure the lid on each bin with 6 security screws using the included torque Allen wrench. Do not use power tools to install the screws. Then carry it to the mount location and place it in the mount frame so the long flat side of the bin runs parallel to the adjacent bin. Repeat this process for each of the 3 remaining bins. Now level the mast. When using the bubble level inside of the mast, it must be removed and reseated to ensure it will provide an accurate reading. Then, verify the mast is level and plumb using a magnetic torpedo level. Fully tighten all 4 of the mast lockdown bolts. Fully tighten the clamp bolts for both monopoles. Please note that the center monopole clamp bolt must be tightened last. If you tighten them before the end of the monopoles, then the mast will be pulled out of plumb, or the center clamps will be pulled loose when you tighten the monopole mast clamps. Instead, tighten the lockdown bolts on both monopole footplates using either a 1/2 inch wrench or 1/2 inch ratchet and socket. Tighten the center clamp bolts on both monopoles. And finally, double-check the mast is still plumb. For more information, search the doc keyword ODU mounting.